We can't talk. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a while. I am just gonna jump in here and just do some work, y'all. Um, go here.
How many times have we put God in a box? How many
Okay.
times have we stuffed him into a small corner of our lives only to find that the gods we
All right.
create are insufficient
Wait for
to
you
meet
all
our
to
daily
come in.
needs? And worse,
In the
they're a burden.
meantime,
I invite you to
I
take
might
a
be here a
moment
short while.
and invite God back in as he is, all powerful, all loving, Yahweh. It's simple to do. Like David, we must confess, the Lord is my
Hey,
shepherd.
Wanda. How
And
are you?
now, your good shepherd invites you to lay down your baggage.
I think
Lay
I'm gonna
down your
try to
sleepless nights, your
work
panic
on.
induced
Hey,
headaches,
Lakia.
your anxiety, your worry,
Yeah, I
the
won't be on here
heavy
long either,
baggage
girl.
of a lesser
But
God.
thank you for popping in.
Every burden you thought you
Listen,
could carry on your own.
I know I've been
Let's
MIA, but
start
I've been busy.
traveling
Can y'all hear
light.
me okay?
Thank you for watching Max
I
Locado's
don't know if it's
Traveling
on
Light.
this
Still want
broadcast
more Traveling
or
Light?
if it's on
The entire
Instagram where
18
my
part series is now
voice
available
starts
on DVD.
distorting.
Find it online and at retail stores nationwide. You don't have to go through
But
life
let me
lugging
know
around excess
on which
baggage.
one.
It's time to start Traveling Light.
I'm good. Just been busy. Just,
Self-reliance
it's that
is a
season right now.
deceptively
You can hear me
heavy
fine?
burden.
Okay, good.
Heavy enough to
No,
break even the
it's that
strongest
busy season.
suitcase.
So,
Thankfully, we have a good
one I think
shepherd
about you all the
who
time
knows
because I
what
really,
path
really,
is best
I
for
would
us.
love to get back into doing
All
another
this week on Zumo Play. How about
designer
some
dress
exclusive
class.
original movies only
And
found on Zumo Play? Plus, thrilling movies that get your heart racing.
okay, Lakia. All right, great. Um, I want to do another designer class so bad, but I don't want to commit unless I can really get it walk through it.
Seasons 3 and 4 are now available
Um,
with more
what did I
ways to
just do with
make
the
smart
remote?
choices.
Yeah, what did I just do with the
Streaming
remote?
on Zumo Play.
Oh
See
goodness,
movies and all.
y'all! I have been doing this all week long. I lose some. I put something down and don't remember where I
Join in
put
on
it.
the fun with Zumo Play.
For 2 days straight, I was looking for my For 2 days straight, I was looking for my earbud. I put it somewhere. Couldn't remember where I put it. I found a piece inside my sofa, behind my pillows, and another piece here in my studio. How soon? Have to make my granddaughter winter formal dress. Oh, when is her winter formal dress doing? Because somebody told me they thought I should do. I mean, I literally have people saying they want to pay for classes with me, and that makes me a little nervous because it kind of puts me don't put me on the spot, but a little pressure, you know. But I want to do one soon. She hasn't told you, yeah. So I had somebody tell me, they really would love for me to be able to do a Patreon or something like that, something where they can pay me because, and I thought this was very sweet, but they say you give out a lot of information and you should be getting paid for it. And y'all know me. That hasn't always been my mindset, but I knew it was coming, you know. And I do realize I do give out a lot of information. And I always knew that there would be a time that I would do classes like, kind of like the designer class that I did. But I'm thinking about, a private session, going into the classroom, kind of like our classroom setting. You hear him, Destin? Y'all, I think my grandbaby sniffs out me being on video. I think he do. He can be asleep and then I'm thinking I'm good and then he just sniffs me out. So unfortunately I won't be able to stay on. I have to wait till a later time where I can stay on a little bit longer. but I really wanted to get into my other mate. I know he loves me, but Grammy needs some time. Grammy needs some me time. Um, but yeah, I know he loves me. And he's so sweet. Love him too. And he need to rest. My oldest grandson is like that. He does not like to take a nap. Something's not looking right with my camera. He does not like to take a nap. Hang on, I'm gonna clean your face. Yeah.
When you see athletes compete on TV, which ones would
But
you pick yourself?
hang on one sec.
The youthful
He might be going back to sleep. I don't know.
swimming phenom Missy Franklin,
Trying to go back to sleep. I gave him his bottle and let him back down.
Muhammad Ali,
Okay.
or the remarkable
He said he gave him his bottle. He laid back down. But no, that I do want to do that. Wanda, because I enjoyed it. I had so much fun. But what I've been up to, like I said, it's busy season, and so I've been real busy at David's Bridal. This is our busiest season, and so a lot's been going on. We've got tons and tons of new prom dresses, and I'm the coordinator for like outside events. And so wherever there's like fashion shows, when we have our annual Georgia Bridal Show, I'm the I'm the responsible one for that. I'm the coordinator for the fashion shows, and I'm talking about bringing the, different models together, providing all the stuff for it. Now this year we didn't do it because our show got canceled for whatever reason. But now we have prom events, and so I've been responsible for putting at least 10 high school fashion shows together, or coordinating shopping nights in our store, or doing meet and greets. So that's been a lot, and amidst of some of the other responsibilities there, and then here, Lord.
You got finished with that bottle. Should I give him his other one?
mm, all right, sorry about that. I had to meet y'all. But so between that and the work that's here, it's like I'm not complaining. Lord knows I'm not, but it's been super busy here. Hey Tanya,
Just give it to him.
how you doing? Hey Tanya, happy Friday, happy Friday. So glad it's Friday. When Tuesday and Friday come, I'm glad because I get to take a step away from Davis. But so yeah, I mean it's like this is cotillion season. So I don't do a whole lot of prom dresses. I get one here and there. I'm very selective about the prom dresses that I make, and a lot of the stuff that's out here now, um, I get prom girls that want me to do certain things, and I'm like, I just want to put my name on some stuff, so I won't do it. I'm very selective on what I do, um, and then my prices are, I'm a little pricey, so you know, people are selective about who they choose. They want a lot for a little, and ain't that little for a lot. Um, and then I've got from wedding gowns, wedding gown alterations. Um, Trying to think of what else. Oh yeah. So it's been a lot of that. Mostly wedding gown alterations and cotillion gown alterations. And I have a couple of items that I'm making, um, that I have to make for some clients. But y'all, what's been blowing my mind? Today's prom dresses are not for the faint of heart. Girl, no. Mm-mm. I mean, that makeup make baby blush. Shoot. I'm like, what in the world? And I mean, parents are actually sending their girls out here like that. So it's something, but that's your cup of tea, then drink it. That ain't mine. But what's been blowing my mind here lately is that my clientele has really gotten different. Like I've always told you that I've had like let's look at my iron, that I've had some uh, prestigious clients. But here lately, it's like clients are coming from different places. I've been getting more calls, out of town calls, and y'all know I haven't been one that promote my business. I'm not one that advocate me, you know, shipping out of town. But these folks are coming to me. They're wanting to come to me, and I'm glad about it because I'm not one, I rather fit the body. I rather be hands on and everything. I mean, I'm literally uh like a couture. I won't even say a couturier does, which I do. I have to show you a piece where I'm literally doing some hand beading stuff. But a lot of the work that I do, I like hands on. I don't like just, take your measurements and and produce a garment. I like to be physically hands on, make sure everything is fitting, make sure everything is tweaked and stuff like that. So I've had more clients coming in from out of town. I've had more clients that I'm dealing with in the political spectrum. Uh, so I feel like I don't know if y'all been seeing my posts about the Black fashion history, like Willie Otake, who's one of my inspirations, and Key. I'm sorry, Ann Lowe, um, Elizabeth Keckley. One of the common things that I see, the common threads in all of these ladies, is their involvement, their clientele is mostly with um, high society, if you will, um, social, the social elite, the politicians, the upper echelon of society, if you will. And so now I find myself now, and it's kind of weird walking into that. Like I've always have, but it's like it's more so now. I literally see myself walking in the footsteps of my inspiration. Does that make sense? And so when I look back over at my clientele and everybody I've dealt with, it just blows my mind. And so that makes me want to be even more strategic about the kind of work that I do, or about my work in general that I produce, um, because I know people are not necessarily watching, which they are, but people tend to pick your stuff apart, if you will. And if they like what they see, guess what? They're going to pass on. They're going to pass on your name. And this is what happened with Elizabeth Keckley. And I'm gonna tell you what. Thank you, Tanya. What blows my mind about her story is interesting that we don't hear all the details of these women. Like when I heard about Elizabeth Keckley, all I knew is that she was one who was a seamstress for Abraham Lincoln's wife. That's all I knew. I didn't know the details about her story, about her being a slave and paying for her freedom. Didn't know about her right at the end of her freedom, she moves to another state and opens up a shop somewhere and hire 20 women to work for her. That's coming out of slavery, and you already an entrepreneur, business owner. That just blows my mind. Oh, thank you, Wanda. I appreciate you. But I'm thinking, how come we don't know more about this? And that's what fascinates me about this Black fashion history, is that the details. Like, there's a lot of things that I didn't know about Ann Lowe. Like, the majority of us, all we know mainly is that she made Jackie O's wedding gown when she married John F. Kennedy. Well, she wasn't Jackie O then, but I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that was been left out of their history, and even the guys, the men that I post about, like a lot of these are inspirations, but just to hear the struggles that they went through, how they started out, what motivated them to uh, step into this realm, you know, it's just very interesting. But as I read over their life, I see my life in their life, and it's very interesting. Yeah. No, we don't hear the true story. And my husband and I, this is aside from fashion history, But my husband and I was watching YouTube, as you know, a lot of times we do, watching historical dramas, or just watching stuff. And we found out that the initial heating and air conditioning system was created or discovered, created by a black woman in her home, just doing stuff. And she found a way to circumvent air and to get it circulating and to get the heat to come through, however she did it. But that was created and invented by a black woman. I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. But anyway, that's where I've been, y'all. I've been busy. I will tell you this. I'll have more Black History moments. Yesterday I posted, and I didn't get to post it here on YouTube, but I posted about Oswald Boateng, which I have ever since I learned of him has always been fascinated by his story. One, he's not bad looking, okay, but just his suave and his just reading his story made him even more interesting. How his mother was a seamstress, but his daddy was a well dressed headmaster. Like these were Ghanaian immigrants, and so this is the image that he perceived as a young kid. And so, even though he was going to school for computer science, and apparently he was very smart because he was in college at the age of 16. And so, he got the bug for cutting, designing, and creating clothes by hanging out with a girlfriend of his. And so, he just took it to the next level. And he was one of these people that just, when you got your mind fixed on something, you pursue it to the end. And so he's amassed a lot of credibility. He changed the game of tailoring because that's how he started out tailoring. Um, so listen, speaking of Gentleman Jim, Wanda, I will be actually interviewing Gentleman Jim on Tuesday right here, and it'll stream. I think it's going to stream to the Facebook group. I should have had it streamed to the Facebook page, but it's going to stream to the Facebook group, Instagram, and right here on YouTube. So I can't wait to get into his story because that is one. He is one in the fashion realm that his story is to me is an untold story. Now I know many of y'all have heard of him when he did the Brother from Harlem series, which he's about to start a new series, and I won't go into that. He'll probably share his. Hopefully, he'll share a little bit of that on Tuesday. But his story is fascinating. He's rubbed shoulders with some affluent people, superstars, and people like Muhammad Ali, and I think some of the singers and stuff like that. I mean, this man has some stories to tell, right? And he loves to tell the stories. And so I can't wait to sit down with him on Tuesday. I think our interview is 6:30, I believe it is. And thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that. Listen, I don't know where my life is gonna lead. I don't know, but I can imagine one day, and it's a little bit overwhelming and it's exciting at the same time because I say, you know what? You know how you remember how we used to say when Tiger Woods was popular, and people would say, "I am Tiger Woods, I am Tiger Woods, everybody's Tiger Woods," right? I feel like I am Ann Lowe, I am Willie OTK. I am Elizabeth Keckley. That's how I feel right now. It's like they just did what they did. They did what was in their hands to do. Like that, it was just in them. Um, I can talk about these stories. Like I really would love to just one day, like do an expose or something on each of them. Like we're sitting, like I'm sitting here talking now. I would literally like to just do an expose on their life and just talk about their story. share pictures, and just go into the details of their lives. And it's just, it's so fascinating to talk about, you know,
Scripture says, do it
with,
God's way. Experience says, do it God's way. Every scoffing heaven begs. I
all right,
agree.
sorry, I
Do
saw a
it
truck pull
God's
up in
way.
front of my
And
house.
every so often we do. And when we do,
So,
when we follow the lead of our God,
yeah.
the driver,
So anyway,
somehow the ball stays in the fairway.
it's
That's
just
when you don't
fascinating. I lost my
remind
train
us
of
of
thought.
me.
Um,
Losing the
oh,
payoff,
Ann Lowe.
trade his faith,
Just
his
one
skills.
other thing about Ann Lowe.
Shoulders
These are the
slump
things that we
when
don't
you're
hear
burdened,
about.
yet so often
But
accompanied with
she dropped out of
anguish
school at the age
self-reliance.
of 14. Like
Next
her
time,
mother and her
I'll hit the
grandmother
wedge, she said.
owned a
You'll
business.
say I'm a
It was a
coward,
mother
but next
and a
time,
her mother and
I'll
an
hit the
aunt.
wedge.
It was either a mother and an aunt or a mother and a grandmother, but they owned a business in Montgomery, Alabama. They lived in another part of Alabama, but it must have been like neighboring counties or something. Maybe there's a fiber of her life literally woven into you. There could be a connection, you know. There could be. There could be.
My wife became ill about 3 months after we got married, and put her in the hospital in Denver.
Okay.
And she was one of those good
Sorry, y'all. But yeah,
people.
you never know, Tanya. You just never know. Cause my whole family, like, I still have one to do that before the month is out. I have my own great grandfather who was a tailor here, much like Willie O.C.K. He was a tailor here in the Augusta area. Hey, Keisha, 1917. So I still have his story to tell, and I don't want to end the month without telling his story. I don't know much about it, but I know that he was he was a tailor here, only black tailor here in the Augusta area. So, but that is my family bent. You know, that's where I get my skills from. You know, and who knows how far back that goes. You know, I mean, next step past him, slavery. You know, so that will be interesting to hear his story. But but with Ann Lowe, she dropped out of school. Was it 14? Yeah, she dropped out of school at 14, if I'm not mistaken. And then she took over her mother passed away when she was 16, and she took over her business. And but she had to have some kind of influence. She had to have some kind of maybe she helped them when she dropped out of school. Maybe she went in there and started helping them, you know, with the clients' work and stuff like that. And so when her mother passed away, she took over the business. And so she had a business already at Alabama at age 16. So who says that we can't do these things? You know, it just happened to have determination to do them. And then she got married. Um, she got divorced because the husband that she was with didn't want her working, didn't want her in business. But when you have something that's in you that's burning, like she just had to do it. You know, this was part of who she was. You know, and so he left her, and then she had a son by him, and she took her and her son and went to New York to take up this fashion course, a fashion design course. It was a 4 year course, but then she was so advanced and everything, it only took her 2 years. But talk about odds, like we don't have the odds now like they did then. I mean, we don't have the odds and the limitations like they did then. There may be some, but they're nothing like they had then. Like there was segregation. So the school that she went to in New York, it was so segregated that she couldn't study with the white kids. Like she had to study alone. I don't know if there was other black kids, but she didn't study with them. But she was very good. She was great to the point that the teachers would show the white students her work. So she graduated 2 years early. And when she graduated, she moved back to Florida, well, moved down to Florida. So now she's gone from Alabama to New York down to Florida. She opens up a business in Florida. She does very well. And she's sewing for the elite. She's sewing for the wealthy and everything, because I am a firm believer when the Bible tells you that your gift will take you before great men. This is what happened. Like her gift what she had in her hand to do. It took her before these great people, and great meaning, the upper echelon, the higher, high society people, uh, renowned status, So she did that, but she wanted to get back to New York, and so she saved up $20,000 from the money that she made. So she had to been doing some work, especially in that time, to make that kind of money. So she saved up enough money to get back to New York, and but when she got to New York, she was contracted out by these high end stores like I think it was Henry Bendel's or um, places like Neiman Marcus. I don't know if Neiman Marcus was one of them, but these higher end stores, whatever was high end then, and they hired her to be their creative director or designer or whatever. But she would never get credit for her work. And so, and you can go back and read some of this. But one of them was, oh, I can't think of the latest name. She won an Oscar or Academy Award for one of these movies, and she created the dress for her. But the store got the credit for her design for her dress. She never got a mention or anything. So I think she kind of got tired of being looked over, not getting mentioned, and that's kind of how it happened anyway, right? So she decided to open up her own shop, and she, people learned of her and everything. Like she had very specific ways that she created her work. Like she had identifying marks. Like people knew her by her work, and that's what they wanted. And so her business took off, but I think something happened. That's how she came in to know uh, the Kennedys. Well, they weren't the Kennedys then, Bouviers. The mother learned about her and wanted her to make the daughters. It was Jackie and her sisters cotillion gowns, and so she contracted her out to sew for them, and she was like she did a lot of work for them and other people around them. And then when it was time for Jackie to get married, then she contracted her to make her wedding gown. So that's how that story, that's how they came to connect. But apparently she wasn't paying her taxes in her business, and so her business got shut down. And but there was a friend or somebody who actually paid her taxes for her, brought her current and everything. Of course, through this, y'all might have heard about her eye troubles and how she lost one eye and all this other stuff, but it didn't stop her. And so a friend paid her taxes, and she was able to get back in business for a little bit. But then I think she was having trouble with the other eye, and she ended up staying, having to shut down business, stay with her daughter, and eventually passed away. But it just talks about the like if there's something in you to do, there's nothing that can stop you from doing what's in you to do. You just have to have the determination and the willpower. And I always think about that. There is no excuse for us today because there's so much more available to us today, um, to get things done. Like there's not the limitations that they had. Like you couldn't drink certain water, you couldn't go certain places, you couldn't eat at certain countertops, and you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that just because of the color of your skin. Well, now we can go anywhere and everywhere. There's no limitations, and so there should be nothing that stops us from getting it done. The things that we desire to do, and it just made me reflect on that, that there's no excuses, none whatsoever. Just got to do it and have a passion and determination, and the willpower to go after it, you know. And I think about if they didn't do these things, their names wouldn't be in history. Like Elizabeth Keckley has written memoirs now. Like we're reading her memoirs, we're reading her story, and I'm sure when these things were going on at that time, she wasn't thinking about uh, one day I'm gonna be famous and one day people gonna be reading my story in history. I'm sure she wasn't thinking that. She was just living her life. She was just doing what she loved to do, and she was determined to do it. And I mean, who would have heard how many other people that were slaves bought their freedom? All we All we ever heard, well, all I have ever heard was, you know, they were slaves and then there was emancipation and they were free. But you've heard about the E.W. Du Bois and you heard about the um, Frederick Douglasses and you've heard about Madam C.J. Walkers. You heard about these people after slavery and things like that, or people that made their way through. But I mean, people like this to me is extraordinary. And I don't know if it's so extraordinary because, it's in my vein of what they did, the sewing. But I think just as a people, um, their story is interesting, you know. So that's why I've been sharing it. I mean, I had no idea that I would uncover, unpack the history that I did, but it's rich history, you know. Especially, just imagine this is just one segment of fashion. Just imagine all the other stuff that's out there, you know. You know what? I think one, the truth be told, I am too. And I think that a lot of us deal with that. Because I believe there's so much in us to do it. If you're like me, sometimes I get stuck. I don't know which to do first, what to do first. There's so many obligations around. And this led me to one question the other day because this is what I've noticed. And this was the same thing with, I think it was Ann Lowe that I told you that she was married. She was married once, then she was married again. Her second husband got tired of her. Like, you know how you get inspiration? I'm sure you've all been there. You get an inspiration, you just got to get it out of your head and get it out on paper. But she was constantly dreaming, constantly thinking of fashions and stuff. And so she would hop up out of bed in the middle of the night, going having to draw, having to uh, move on the idea, And I get that, I understand that. But there's a fine line though, because like he ended up. Now her first husband left her. No, she left the first husband, and the second husband left her. All right. So where do you cross the line? Where there's a fine line between pursuing your goals and your dreams and maintaining family. And I've noticed this in our community that there's been a lot of divorces. There's been a lot of separation. It's just been a lot that I've seen amongst a lot of influencers. Um, and is that in the name of business? Is that in the name of pursuing your goal? Or was it because your mate or their mate couldn't handle their drive for their passion? I wonder what happened, because I see it a lot. And I've always said that I don't want to, I love my family. I love my husband. I love the life that I have. So I don't want to sacrifice family for passion and zeal. So I know there's got to be a way to merge the two. Like, and this question came to me again. I've seen it. I've had this question in my head once before because, like I said, I've seen many of our own influences right here in our social realm that are divorced and different things. I see a lot of it, and so and then I see these people thriving and moving on. Some have gone on to happier lives. So what made me ask the question again is with this Oswald Boateng. Like, here this man is married to beautiful women. His first wife was beautiful wife, but her thing was he didn't spend enough time with her, and so they divorced. And it wasn't a pretty divorce. Um, and then the second marriage was to a beautiful woman, beautiful model, and everything, and that was her story too. They had two beautiful kids, but he didn't spend enough time with family. So how do you where's the balance at, you know, for pursuing your passion, pursuing what's in you, getting it out of you, and then balancing it out with family life? You know, I think some have gone far to the left, too far to the right, or too far to the left, however you want to look at it. without taking family right along with them. I'm sure there's got to be a balance. There's got to be a balance to be able to get it all done and not have to sacrifice any of it. Does that make sense? So I would love to have a conversation on that alone to talk about that, sacrificing the sacrifices we make and, things like that in order to pursue passion. Um, but if anybody has any idea or would like to offer some commentary on that, please drop some nuggets down in the comments. I would love to hear it. Um, but I would love to have an open discussion uh, with those that might be bold enough or willing to share their ideas on, you know, balance with family life and pursuing your dreams and your passions. Because it can be tough sometimes. It can be tough because you do have family. But when you're focused and dedicated, there's a season and a space of time that, like, especially whatever your arena is, like, it requires, like, 100% focus, it requires that kind of dedication. So, I don't know. But what do you do when you love it all? Right? So I don't want to, I guess I'm saying I don't want my story to end up like I've seen a lot, where, divorce is inevitable or, you end up with nobody or, I just don't, I'd rather put this aside and say, you know what? Mm-mm. And I think that's the thing with some of us. Like Wanda, you were saying the procrastination. Some of it's procrastination. Some of it is, okay, what do you do? Which way do you go? It's so much responsibility. Where do you, you know, where do you go? What do you do? I don't know. Hi, Laura. Your word has to stand for something. You can't just make promises and never keep them. That's true. So what do you mean? Like, when you say your word has to stand for something, do you mean like your vows to your marriage or your what do you mean? Because that's interesting. And I do believe that I wholeheartedly agree with your words. Um, right, right. Hey, Lorraine, how are you? Yeah, and sometimes it's a sacrifice, right? And you know what, Lorraine, and I don't know who's all biblical and who's all not, and my brain is biblical, all right. So it reminds me your comment, Lorraine, putting someone aside for 15 years to have a happy marriage, and that would be me. That's my mindset, and I think could I have gone and done much more now? Probably so. But there are things that were much more important. Marriage, ministry. But your comment reminds me of um, when God asked Abraham to sacrifice the child that he gave him. Abraham didn't ask for that child. He didn't ask for um, a boy, but God told him he would give him a son and he would be the father. He told Abraham he'd be the father of many nations. And Abraham asked him, well, God, how's that going to be? Because I don't even have a child. And here I am, 100 something years old. Where am I going to get a boy from? Are you talking about this servant child that I have? God says, no, your own child, your own seed. And so that in itself, believing God for something that you know that in your spirit He told you, like whether that child can be representative of your business or whatever your dream or desire is, God put it there. And so God said, one day you're going to have this, but you don't see nowhere on earth how that's going to happen. And how many of us, a lot of us feel like we're up in age now, but God is still saying, but you're going to be this, or you're going to do that, or you're going to have this or that. And you're thinking, well, God, how is that? I'm 50, 60 years old. Really? It's time for me to start settling down. But God can do anything He want to do. So, but here's my point. God told Abraham he was going to have that child. But then later on, when he did have that child, he asked Abraham to sacrifice that child. Abraham knew God so well that he knew, well, he must have something planned because if he asked me for something that he gave me, I'm going to trust him. And so when he did that, he was on his way to sacrifice. He asked God no questions, no nothing. He didn't tell nobody what he was doing, but he just went up there. And I can imagine um, Sarah, like, where you going, my child? You know, where you going with my child? But it wasn't there. It's God promised him that. And so he was willing to give it back to God, but God didn't have him kill him. He just wanted to see what he would do, whether it was more important for him to have that child, or was it more important for him to trust God for what was to come. And so he knew his heart. He knew where his heart was. His heart was that he was more for the giver than the gift. So are we more for the gift or the giver? Does that make sense? So Laura says, Wanda says, I love it all, and to sit and look and dream about it all is the easiest step. Oh, yeah. And I know for sure God gave me this gift, right? Laura says, if we make an agreement that this weekend is family time, you have to stick to it. Okay. There will be times that the plan may have to change, but it cannot become the norm to put your family second. Laura, I wholeheartedly agree. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think that's where the trouble comes in at, because I do believe that there has to be a measure, there has to be agreement, there has to be a coming together, and I think that that's the key. There has to be a collaboration, like, and I don't want to say marriage is like a business, but if you're gonna do something, you got to be on board. You got to be in agreement. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So you well said, Laura. Lorraine says, I'm not questioning anything. He said it, and I believe it. All is coming to fruition now, and I'm so as happy as can be. Awesome. That's awesome. See, that proves my point. That we gotta trust God. You know, if you believe God, you gotta trust God that that if He gave it to you, He's not gonna take something away that He gave you, because He's not an Indian giver. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, because you know how we used to say some things, but it's now I think about it, it's derogatory. So no, scratch that. He's not a taker backer. All right. So Tanya says, I think we as husband and wife, we have to evolve together, grow and encourage the dreams God give us individually and collectively. I agree, Tanya. I do. You want to bring him in here? Tanya said, yes, my pastor says it all the time. The best is yet to come, no matter what the age. I believe that. Hmm. Just trying to see. He always had a little smile on his face. That's the youngest one. Say hi. Say hi. Say hey. Say hey, Noah. Yes, Laura, you are absolutely right. Marriage is a gift, and we have to treat it that way, right? We have to treat it that way. So I agree, and you do have to um, include each other, like you said, Tanya, and come into agreement of what we're gonna do, and not, like you said, not put certain things uh, second, not put your relationship, your family second. And I think I have to admit that sometimes those are some of the things that I struggle with, because sometimes work gets so crazy um, and busy, even here, that, and I put myself in a time crunch. Time management plays a big part too. Like, if you don't have that time management, everything planned. I don't know which one of you mentioned about planning, but planning is important. Planning is so important to be able to get it all done. One of my prayer partners was saying this, because I asked her, I said, she's just as busy as I am, and she's got like several businesses. And so I asked her, I said, how do you get it all done? She says, I live by a calendar. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I have a pocket calendar, like the little small calendar you put in your bag. I have a wall calendar. I have the calendar on my phone. I have notifications on my phone. But if you don't look at them, if you don't write them down, what's the use of having them, right? That's my story. Say hey, Miss Tanya. Hey, Miss Wanda. Say hey. Say hey. You say hey. Hey, hey, hey. Say hey. You gonna say hey? He's teasing. He is yummy. You yummy? Are you Mr. Yummy? I call him Mr. Woogers. He's Mr. Woogers. Ain't that right? That's right. Huh? That's right. Mm. Huh? Mm. That right? Mm. Okay. But yeah, so it's interesting, and a lot of times that's why, if I'm absent for long periods of time, I know, okay, it's time to give this a break. It's time to put this aside, and I have to know what's important. The struggle is real though, because you got things that you love to do and there's a passion for it. You got to decide what's more important. You know, my husband and I have a shared calendar. We put things on so we can be aware of the other person's commitments. Google Calendar is wonderful. Oh yeah, I use Google Calendar, but I never thought about. Now, see, my husband's not a very tech savvy person. Like he don't have to have all that. He's old school, so he like writing it down. He keeps a calendar in his room. So now that's what I would have to do is like write on his calendar, um, what I'm doing. But I like Google Calendar. Like most of my clients appointments for my clients are on that calendar. Um, I need a calendar though. Like I could put everything on it, like what do you call it? A digital calendar. So where I could put all of my stuff on, like work, business. Right now, I use my calendar on my GoDaddy site, so my clients book their appointments, and that goes straight to my Google Calendar. But like doctor's appointments or work and things like that, I have to manually add those to that Google Calendar. You trying to talk to? Huh? You trying to talk to? Huh? 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 Mm-mm. Thank you. Thank you. You love Grammy?
We may not
Hmm?
start life
You
with
love
a lot of
Grammy?
baggage, but the older we get, the more we see and pick up along the way.
Mm-mm.
Of course, not
He's
everyone
something
gets
else.
to take a break.
All right, so yeah, I was supposed to be on here somewhere.
Life
I was
travelers,
gonna try to
people Jesus enjoyed the most.
finish my second dress for the block first, my first block for the Make Nine, but I haven't been able to get to it. Like I said, when I come in here, Mr. Woogers, he's all hands on. I've been working on a wedding gown for a popular singer, y'all. I didn't realize it, and I love the fact that um, this girl came in from Nashville, and her mother found me on the internet because her mother lives here in town. But she's a literal R&B singer, and when I looked her up, she was so down to earth, and she don't talk about any of that. She did tell me she's singing, she goes on the road and everything, but I'm thinking, maybe like my son does. My son goes on the road, he travels and things like that. So I didn't think anything of it. But when I went and looked up her IG page, I was like, oh my god, sir, 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 where you going? You want to get down? See, he's at the age that he don't want to sit down. He don't want to sit still. I won't drop no names right now. I'm gonna wait until I will share her pictures when I when she gets married. Um, you got to be still, man. She gets married in March, y'all, and so that's one of the hard things about someone once I finish work and stuff like that. I can't share it until the wedding, and then by that time, sometimes I'm not even. I forget to share pictures. Like I got tons of stuff that I haven't even shared. Um, but I will drop. I will share it though. Yeah, I was blown away. Like she's she's open for music soul child. She's open for music soul child. She's who else? There's several people I recognize in her on her page. She's getting ready to travel with somebody. Um, I can't think of who it is, but somebody well known. Somebody y'all would know. Right, client confidentiality, exactly. But so it's been pretty interesting around here. One of the other clients that I've been working with, and she was over this morning. Sir, where you going? Where you going? Her, did you poop? Are you good? She's trying to get down. Okay. Yeah, her husband works for the he's actually a congressman, Georgia State Senate congressman. He just moving around to see where he goes. What you getting ready to hammer? Mm-mm. He just exploring. You sitting right there. He gonna go nowhere.
You sure?
He'll be fine. See, he like this tripod. He trying to move it. He exploring. He like Douglas the Explorer. But anyway, I won't stay on here long, guys. I may come in a little bit later, maybe later this evening, and cause I want to do a test on I've added IG to my StreamYard, and so I want to do a test run on that um to make sure it's working before Tuesday. So I'll come back in, but I'll let you all know when I get ready to come back in tonight, so y'all can hang out and maybe I can actually get some sewing done. So don't tell you too much, you'll figure it out now. Yeah, it's been quite interesting around here. That's all I can say. But I'm thankful. You know, I just want to make sure that all my work is done. Okay, so now I gotta go because he's trying to touch everything. But yeah, Wanda, stay tuned because I'm going to I gotta look in. I have a Patreon account actually, and so I need to see what I need to do to start those up. So either what I'll do is just open back up like my sewing classroom here on Facebook. I don't know which is better. I see a lot of people going to Patreon, but if that's the case, then I'll open that up where there'll be different levels where people will learn different things. Like alterations will be one of them. The 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 designer dress class, I'll bring that back, and then all of the fitting classes. I bring that back. I categorize those. All right. But anyway, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Let me share my thoughts and bringing you up to speed on what I've been up to. Sir, come on. Bring you up to speed on what I've been up to, okay? And I have to show you some of my work. I'll drop some pictures in the group in just a little bit. All right. But anyway, thank y'all. Y'all have a great day, and I will see y'all a little bit later. Talk to you soon.